Hello. So this video, I just thought I might as well do it for no reason. Also, I was literally just watching Indie Cross like 30 seconds ago before I hopped into a closet and started recording. Ah, God, I lose breath easily. I want to explain nightmare forms. From Indie Cross, my favorite animated series of all time. I will never get tired of watching it. I have watched it for I've watched both episodes in total for 112 times added together. Like, episode 1 I've watched over 70 times, and episode 2 around 40. But yeah. Nightmare forms. Charlotte says that it will allow the affected anomaly to gain and use any ability from their respective realm. To describe what these abilities include in more detail, we'll just take Nightmare Springtrap, for example. Nightmare Springtrap obviously just gains a general power boost in both speed, strength, and for some reason every single nightmare form we've seen thus far is able to shoot lasers out of their eyes. And I don't know why, but that's kind of funny. Just every single one of these forms. Even the ones that aren't included in the Indie Cross series itself. For example, Nightmare Bendy versus Nightmare Sans, which does not pertain to the Indie Cross series, but the Indie Cross FNF mod. It is a what-if animation. Both of them can shoot lasers out of their eyes. They can use all the abilities from their game that they originally had. Bendy being able to kind of teleport from place to place using ink, like going through walls and appearing in another area. Sans being able to use his bone manipulation and controlling souls. However, they use these moves but can also modify them, like Nightmare Sans' giant Mega Gaster Blaster, or Bendy being able to summon nightmare forms, like little nightmare versions of the Butcher Gang and different little enemies. So this means, even with Nightmare Springtrap, they're able to summon any enemies from any character in general from their games, because all it has to do is be from their realm. And another interesting detail that I thought is that Nightmare Springtrap said they saw everything, and they meant it because Nightmare Springtrap was able to switch between different forms that weren't happening at the moment. Like, Springtrap turned into Burn Trap, which is many years later. So basically they're able to transcend their timeline as long as it is in their game. That's why Withered Bonnie is able to show up in the same place as a normal Bonnie. And just a bunch of other animatronics that wouldn't really make sense otherwise were able to show up. I think this means that this is kind of a creative mode where they can access any asset from their game and even alter them. Like, they can still deal damage to other characters, like Nightmare Springtrap hurting Frisk, but just because they have this ultimate power, they can't really access Frisk's code, like, directly. Like, they're able to go into their save point or saving screen and just talk to Frisk, but they weren't able to actually alter Frisk's code and just kill them, like, immediately. They're not able to just delete them. So they can't access other entities' codes, but they kind of can at the same time. And I've noticed that the Game Master, the game engine game maker in the Rogue from Indie Cross, they do have a nightmare form, but it looks pretty weak. They don't seem that strong. They don't get any really interesting upgrades to my eye, because they don't really have a realm. They're kind of just doing what they used to do, but more, if that makes sense. They have more chains, or not even more chains. It's just that the chains that are on their back now, they didn't used to be there. Their powers are pretty tame compared to Nightmare Springtrap's, because I think that, like, in a metaphorical sense, that can represent how indie games have so much creativity. Just the game engines by themselves, they aren't really anything to look at. They are very powerful, though. They did help make the games. That's also why I think Unreal being the biggest enemy is also very symbolic, since Unreal is used mostly by AAA companies. So that's also very cool. And also, Unreal is perpetually in a nightmare form. If you didn't notice in Indie Cross, they were trapped in the core, which holds all the energy. We're just going to call it core energy. That's how everybody gains their nightmare forms. And on the topic of actually gaining your nightmare form, if a portal fails to form near an anomaly, it will cause their abilities to realize any doable feat from their respective realm. So, how does it actually work? So, failing near an anomaly would mean it just fails to form. But as I was watching episode 2, Game Master closed it. It didn't, fail to form. It was already formed. So that's another thing. If it's just disrupted in some way, the energy will kind of short circuit. Because Game Master didn't absorb the portal energy. In fact, I think that would be a bad idea, because that would cause them to overheat even more, because the core energy is what's making them need to cool down, even though it gives them a lot of power. No, they just closed the portal. They didn't absorb it. So how it works is when the portal dies or closes, the energy needs a place to go. And it can't really go into the surrounding, because, it's just an environment. I'm assuming it needs to enter an AI, something with an actual substance, if that makes sense, an actual entity or an anomaly. Springtrap is a character, and in this sense, being real, they can be considered a character, just AI from their game. So that's why they're able to absorb that energy. So yeah, the energy needs a place to go, so it goes to the nearest anomaly. Well, not the nearest anomaly, just whatever it can hit, as long as its energy is stored somewhere. Okay, so portal energy. I think I got that. Yeah, just nightmare forms. Yeah, that's just all I have to explain for nightmare forms. I really find this series so cool. That's why I spent an entire year making the Indie Cross game. It's beautiful. I really can't wait for episode 3, which probably releases this summer or near the end, or near the start of summer. No, end of summer, near the end of summer. Okay, I don't think I missed, any major details. I think I got everything down. Not able to alter code. Yeah. Thank you for listening to Nightmare Thing. Goodbye.